Ever wonder how a few tweaks can bump up your home's value? With small improvements, it could mean more money in your pocket. Our sellers are typically making minor adjustments to the home and seeing 2 to 3 times return on the investment on the updates I'm about to show you. We work with a lot of buyers and are finding that most buyers are looking for a turnkey product. What's top of mind for us when we're selling a home is getting as many feet in the door as possible, because the more buyers we get in the door, the higher chance that we have of getting more offers, and with more offers, we have a better chance of negotiating those offers up to the highest possible price. Because we work with a lot of buyers, we know that a backyard is very high on criteria lists for those looking for a single family home. And oftentimes a buyer will actually skip a home altogether if it lacks a backyard. With this home having an amazing expansive backyard, we really seize that opportunity to really elevate that space and create a place where you can have opportunities for relaxation and entertaining right at your home. Especially in areas like Noe Valley, where generally we get really good weather in this part of town. So the backyard in this home was undeniably a standout feature, and so we really wanted to make sure it got the attention it deserved. And with a small investment of about $15,000 to $20,000, that will yield our client about $100,000 to $200,000 or more on the sales price. So what we did here was we really cleared up all of that overgrowth, planted a new turf area here where the kids can play, brought in some new plants throughout, power washed all of the cobblestone that you see throughout. We aim to make this house stand out on this charming street filled with many Victorians. So taking inspiration from Nicole Hollis's famous black Victorian and Pacific kites, we wanted to create a space that people wouldn't forget. A space that if you were walking by or driving by, you'd be inclined to snap a photo. And in fact, we've already had a couple of local influencers tag us in a photo of the home. Previously, the home was a lighter gray with white trim, which was a classic clean look. But we really wanted to, again, find a way to make this house feel really special. So we went for not only a really bold color, using different tones of black, and also creating a more of a monochromatic look, which just creates like a seamless and more modernized look for the house. On average, on a home of this size, our sellers are spending anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 on exterior paint, and that's a minimal investment compared to the overall end sales price on most properties. In a competitive market like San Francisco real estate, it's essential that we make your home stand out. But sometimes it's those minor adjustments that make a world of difference. And one of those things that we choose to do almost every time is paint. At this home, we opted to paint the entire interior of the home, choosing different approaches with the paint, like bold colors, monochromatic looks. So really leaning into the paint to accentuate the home's natural characteristics, like a fireplace in the room, choosing a dark, bold color to really make that the centerpiece of the room. On average, our sellers are spending anywhere from $5,500 to roughly $10,000 on interior paint, which can make a world of a difference in your end sales price and also make the home feel much newer. One of the things that we like to do with paint is use paint to save a lot of money, right? In refreshing a kitchen. So redoing cabinetry on a kitchen can be very expensive, but what we often do is opt for a much cheaper option in making a kitchen look much newer with just paint. So at this home, we opted to just paint the existing cabinets, but use a really fun color. Green has been a really popular color more recently, and it just really modernizes the space and gives it a really fun, different feel. So we went ahead and painted again all the existing cabinets, but we also opted to take that same color and bring it up this brick wall in the kitchen just to create a different and fun vibe. And so by just doing that, a really small investment of about roughly $2,800 really spruced up this kitchen. Is gonna make it feel like a much newer kitchen overall. and really kind of leaning into that paint again to just create separation between rooms. Another approach that we took at this property was a monochromatic look. So what does a monochromatic look mean? It means clean lines and really gives the room a simple look and a cohesive look, more importantly. It's also a new modern thing that we're seeing in paint, and I'm really loving it. The home itself gets a lot of beautiful natural light, and so we went with a really bold color out front, but we wanted to keep the inside spaces feeling very bright and airy, which is what this home offers. So in here, we opted for that monochromatic look, but chose a more taupey, lighter color to again just keep the brightness of the home. Typically what you see is that the walls are painted one color, but then the baseboards and the trim in the bedroom are white or a different color. In this case, with the monochromatic look, you essentially paint all the walls, all the trim, and the baseboard the same color or a shade of that same color to create that cohesive and more modern, cool, edgy look. So good lighting in a place, it can really make a world of a difference. In most of our listings, we are recommending that we update the fixtures. This is a small investment that can really change the overall resale value of your home. So in this space, we opted to not only change out most of the light fixtures, but also repurpose some of the light fixtures in different rooms. So when choosing light fixtures, there is a little bit of a science to it. When thinking through light fixtures, we're thinking through how much natural light does that specific room get? What is the size of the room to choose the right fixture that might go into that room? For instance, I'm standing here in the living room of the home where we previously had this light fixture in this room here, but we opted to swap those out. So this fixture that you see here is only a one bulb fixture, whereas this one has several bulbs. This room was lacking a little bit of natural light, whereas this room is drenched in natural light with light coming through the bay windows. And so instead of swapping out those light fixtures because they were beautiful, we decided to repurpose them and swap them out into the rooms. We also think of light fixtures as a real statement piece of the home. So think jewelry when you're getting dressed and you're adding those last little bit of accessories, and how much those accessories make a difference or actually make your outfit. On average, we're spending anywhere from $250 to $500 on a light fixture, but that really small investment will make a world of a difference, again, in the overall feeling of the home and really making an older home feel much newer with some elevated fixtures. Flexibility and functionality of a space are at the top of buyers' mind when they're shopping for a home. And so again, as we're thinking through the sale, we are thinking through how can we appeal to a bigger buyer pool? And so creating a space that offers the most utility is going to be extremely valuable in selling the home. So one of the ways that we do that is through staging. So staging a home may not feel like a headline act when you're prepping the home for sale, but let's not underestimate the tool of staging and how to use staging properly to elevate a space. So in this property, it offered pretty great utility with a solid floor plan. The sellers were using the space in a very different way in which we staged it, and so we really wanted to maximize every room in the home to offer, in some cases, multiple ways in which you could use this space. So we're standing here downstairs in the bonus room of the property. This room is located on the lower level of the home, and it's currently staged as a separate flex room, right? This can work well for a family room, a place where your kids can come and hang out with their friends and be out of your space upstairs. It can work really well as a home office, and it's really nice because you also have the accessibilities straight out to the backyard. And lastly, it can also really work well for extended family stays because it does have a bathroom down on this level as well. So this is one way that we use staging to create different moments. As you see, we have it staged as essentially a flex space. So a lot of buyers, they really have a hard time when walking through a space and envisioning what could be done there. So they really need to see it. So upstairs, the third bedroom is smaller than the other two up there. Our sellers were using that space as a home office. And so we opted to stage that room as a bedroom, which it is a bedroom. But oftentimes what you see with staging is in those smaller rooms that they opt to use it as just an office. However, we always want to maximize the number of bedrooms in a place. And so the front room, our clients were also using that as a home office, which is also an amazing home office with a view of the tree-lined Dolores Street. However, again, just really maximizing the bedrooms that are available in the home and showing to a buyer that, in fact, all rooms can certainly be used as bedrooms, and then using the lower level room to kind of create that bonus space. Another thing that we did with staging is reworking the rooms. The way our clients were living in the home was that the place that we have staged now as a living room was formerly the dining room, and then vice versa. So what we did with the staging was actually stage that room closest to the kitchen as the living room, so that when you're entertaining guests, most people are hanging out in the kitchen and having drinks, but they're migrating over to the living room because maybe you've got the TV going. And so we wanted to create a space that felt more connected and allowed for a better entertainment floor plan, or even if you're just at home cooking with the family, you just feel more connected between those two spaces. So staging is not just about pretty furniture, it's about using the furniture to create a space and show the possibilities of a home to a buyer. So our goal when we're selling a home is to not only elevate the space to meet the other homes that are on the market, but better yet, exceed those homes so we get those buyers in your door and not theirs. On average, our clients are spending anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 to prep their home for sale. But the great news is that they're seeing a return of 2 to 3 times on that investment in the end sales price. So it's not just one aspect, right? It's not just the staging, it's not just the painting, it's not just elevating the backyard, it's all of these elements together, and really that design plan that we're putting together for you that will ultimately yield you a higher sales price in the end. So you might be wondering how all of this gets done or who's doing all this work. As I mentioned earlier, at the Krishnan team, we do provide a turnkey service where we're coming in, we'll do a walkthrough of the home, create that design plan. We work with vendors who we work with on all of our listings, and a project coordinator who will help bring that vision to life and manage all of the vendors throughout the process. So as a seller, we always like to say you can hand over the keys and we'll call you when the check's in the bank. To see more examples of before and afters, you can check out our page and watch more videos like these. If you're looking to sell your home and maximize its value, you can text us at the number below. We'd be happy to help you sell your home for the highest possible price.